JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 4th of June 2021. So yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Friday's afternoon session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff, guys. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, as always, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis, so you feel free to check us out here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top, guys. So now then, jumping into the charts. So guys, the first one I want to pick up here is, well, the German DAX. And basically, as you know, as you are aware, we did receive the U.S. non-farm payrolls together with the Canadian employment figures as well. So let's start from the reaction here on the U.S. non-farm payrolls. So basically, you can see that the equities are pumping higher. They are enjoying the fact that the unemployment rate improved. So it basically went from 6.1 to 5.8 when the forecast was at 5.9. So that's beating the forecast. Also, the average hourly earnings also have increased. So basically, this means that employers are seeking for new employees and kind of are willing to pay a little bit more there. And yep, that kind of, like I said, that increased nicely here. So, but the non-farm payroll number itself, and this is where I said, guys, to you this morning that let's see if it's not going to be the same disappointment as it was previously. So previously, basically, the number also disappointed I'm talking about last month, and the same thing happened today as well. And basically the forecast was sitting at 650K, but the actual number came out at 559K. So although not much far away from the kind of the forecast, however, still below it. So that's not really, let's say, working well here for the for investors and for the bulls, basically. So long story short, we saw the US dollar declining a little bit, but I'll get to that point in a bit. But here coming to the German index DAX, and yes, we had that pop initially, but let's see if this pop will be able, well, if the bulls will be able to maintain that pop, because at the moment you can see we are drifting back down very quickly. And for me, for example, here, if we zoom in and you can see this little picture right here, well, to be honest, if by any chance today the index starts falling back below the 15,631 territory right here, then maybe we could see a bit of a retracement going into next week. But at the moment, guys, we are where we are. We're still above this area, but we're still below the all-time high, which is around the 15,685. In order to go for some higher levels, we need that pop. We need that move above the 15,685, and then yes, higher levels could be met. So, but at the moment we are kind of playing the waiting game. The Dow Jones Industrial Average. So, looking at the Dow Jones, also had a nice, beautiful pop here. I mean, the index is still closed, but on the cash index, we had a nice pop, and we are currently sitting at around 30. 34,650, 52, something like that. Basically above yesterday's close. And not far from this barrier right here. But to be honest, looking at all this picture, I think that I will get rid of this barrier, and instead of that, actually, I'm going to mark yesterday's low and redo this chart a little bit, because just to be a little bit more on the safe side, the way we can play this one out is keep your eyes on the 34,667 instead. That's the yesterday's high. If we clear that level, then yes, we could go for some higher areas, but even then, guys, you should be very, very careful, because let me just quickly put this on the chart, because we do have this little short-term tentative downside line, because if it somehow provides good resistance, well, I mean, another slide here could be possible. So keep that in mind for now, guys. But yeah, let's see how this is going to play out today. For now, it seems that there could be a chance for a drift further north. However, strong confirmation breaks are required. The first one would be on a break of yesterday's high near the 34,667, and the next one would be on a break of this downside line, and then yes, we will take it from there. DXY, the dollar index, so drifting back down, however, remains above the 21-day EMA. So let's see if the bulls are able to keep this one here above this hurdle near the 90.23 zone, above the 21-day EMA. So far, all this area is providing decent support, and if it continues to do that, then, well, I mean, the dollar index could reverse and push higher. Maybe what could happen as well is that it might stay somewhere around here, and if it does that, and for example it stays for today slightly above the 21-day EMA, then maybe going into next week we could see a nice beautiful reversal here and a push higher. And this is where I'm gonna probably start looking at the some of these levels, actually, like the 90.44 zone, or even better, maybe we could keep an eye on the current highest point of today near the 90.62, 63, approximately around here. But again, for now, my main focus is on this one, on the 90.23 zone together with the 21-day EMA. I want to see if all this is going to provide decent support. Now, jumping into gold, and gold, yes, had a nice push here to the upside initially, but as you can see, it's now drifting back down. Let's see if it's going to drop below this, or should I say, will stay below this 1875 territory, because today, initially, it did drop below it. It did drop below this hurdle and went kind of further south, but quickly climbed back up, and even like after the release of the non-farm payrolls, it pushed nicely to the upside. However, it found resistance, and this is where I'm gonna probably mark this level as well. Let me just grab one of these lines. Let me just recycle one of these lines here. This is where it found resistance near the 1882 zone. So that's the inside swing low of the 28th of May. And look at this beautiful hold up around here. And now what we're seeing here is a bit of a retracement. Can it drop back down? Well, again, like I said, can it come back closer to the 21-day EMA? We'll just have to wait and see, guys. But at the moment, I mean, it's a very tricky one. I'm not saying that this could be, could now, like, let's say, move higher because it's still trading above the 21-day EMA. No, there is still room here for a possible kind of correction lower up until this upside line. But for that, I would need to see a move back below the 1875 territory, and then maybe a drop below the 20, not maybe, but also a drop below the 21-day EMA. So let's keep an eye on that one. WTI Oil, so pushing nicely to the upside. Dollar index is drifting a little bit to the downside, or actually rebounding here a little bit, but initially, I mean, the bulls picked up here and drove this one back higher. Now, I mean, the same game plan remains, guys, because I was saying that if we continue to trade above the 68 territory right here, then yes, we could continue aiming higher overall. And yep, so far that's what we're doing. And as I said to you previously, my next target is that 70.54 territory, 54, 55 approximately around here, and then we'll take it from there, guys. Litecoin, so somehow is drifting back lower here, and kind of somehow respected this downside line taken from the high of the 10th of May. And yep, as you can see, now it's drifting back below this 176, 77 territory, approximately around here. And well, what I will say right now is that if it stays below this, then well, yes, lower levels could be met. We could go for further declines, but again, for now we'll keep it short and simple. Yes, at the moment we are still trading below this downside line, and if it stays below this, then yes, lower levels could be met, guys. Okay, so jumping into a few pairs, AUDJPY, and look at this one, rebounding from the area near this upside support line taken from the low the 24th of March. Now, don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean that from here we will go higher or something like that, but at the moment, I mean, it's a bit of a tricky one here with the upside, because we are currently getting a hold up near the 21-day EMA. So the 21-day EMA is acting as a nice area of resistance. So basically, long story short, I would say that if you want to aim for some higher levels, well, probably wait for some moves here to the upside, some breakouts, for example, somewhere above this area, the 85.15, just to be a little bit more on the safe side, and then, yes, higher levels could be met maybe, but again, even then, we do have these obstacles on the way, so these could be our next targets. So that's why for now, guys, long story short, we will keep an eye on the 21-day EMA. If we move above it, then yes, we'll aim for this 85.15 territory. But if that gets clear, then yes, this is where it could become a little bit more interesting for more buyers. For the sellers to be interested, so that it would be interesting for the sellers, there we go, a break of this upside line taken from the low the 24th of March would be required, and also just to be a little bit more on the safe side, a drop below this hurdle here, because as you can see, since kind of the 4th of May, or actually throughout this whole May, this is the lowest point of May here near the 83.93 territory. So a nice good drop below it would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and more sellers could join in, so keep that in mind. USD CAD, so drifting back down. So yeah, drifting back below this downside line. Initially we had a good kind of attempt to push higher, but as you can see, this is the reason why I always say wait for that confirmation break. And for me, I needed to see a push above the 1.2142 territory in order to go for some higher levels, and instead we're getting a drift back below the downside line. So let's see where this is going to end up being. If it's going to stay today below this downside line, then well, maybe we could actually see another decline. However, to be a little bit more on the safe side with the declines, well, wait for a nice daily candle to stay below the 1.2013 territory, and then we could take it from there. USD CHF, so looking at this picture here, also drifting back down. So initially we had a good run here north, but as you can see, we drifted back below the 0.9030 territory, below the 21-day EMA, and now we're testing this downside line, which we broken yesterday and the day before yesterday as well. Now we're testing this downside line from above, and it's currently acting as a kind of an area of support, I would say. So if in a way it could drift, let's say in the next couple of days, it might even drift a little bit lower here, yeah, but if it continues to provide support, then yes, basically we could see a nice reversal and a push higher. So keep that in mind, guys. GBPNZD, so flirting with this downside line still. So yeah, I mean, for now we're just watching this one, and I'm really interested to see where this daily candle is going to end up being today, if it's going to stay above this downside line, or will it actually drift back down. How even if it drifts back down, I'm not saying that this is where I'm going to start getting bearish or something. For me, I would need to see a break of this short-term upside support line taken from the low the 27th of May, and also a drop below the 1.9609 territory as well. So just to be a little bit more careful with the downside. But given that we're closer to this downside line here, here, which we're currently flirting with. If we manage to stay above it, then yes, higher levels could be met, guys. And also, if we manage to stay above the high of the 21st of May, and also I think that's the highest point of May. There we go. Yes, if we manage to stay above the highest point of May near the 1.9772, then, well, I mean, higher levels could be met, guys. GBPUSD, so rebounding beautifully from this 21-day EMA, from this 1.41 hurdle, and initially we saw a little drop here below it, but now we're reversing back above it. So even though all this is kind of still looking quite positive, I would say, because we're also still trading above this upside line taken from the low the 12th of April, well, to be honest, to be a little bit more on the safe side, I would need to see a push above this the current highest point of June, which is around the 1.4250 territory, and then yes, higher levels could be met. EURGBP. So EURGBP, I talked about this one this morning, and basically, yes, we are seeing a nice drop here below the 0.8582 territory. We're currently dropping nicely here below this area, but can we stay below it? Will we not get just another false breakout? Well, we'll have to just wait and see. If we do stay below it, then yes, further declines are possible, but if we come back here and push above this downside line, then, well, maybe this is where I'm going to start aiming for some higher levels. EURUSD, so also rebounding nicely. However, this is what I talked about this morning, guys, that we might see a rebound, but if this territory right here provides resistance, strong resistance, this 1.2161 territory, if it continues to do its job, then, well, together with the 21-day EMA, of course, then yes, we might not be done with the downside, so keep that in mind. So for now, we are kind of pushing higher, but let's see if we continue to trade below this hurdle. If we do continue to trade below this hurdle, then basically we could see a nice drop again, and a potential move towards the 1.2051 zone right here near the 100-day EMA. With the upside, it's a pretty straightforward approach here. Basically, I need to see a pop above the 1.2254, 55 territory right here. I know that maybe I'll be missing out on a bit of territory here, but to be honest, I'd rather be safe than sorry. And if we do climb above this area, then yes, I will aim for a further move north. So guys, that was a quick overview of some of the instruments that we looked at this morning, some new ones, and I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching and listening. I really appreciate your time, guys. So if you want to catch me on Monday, as always, at my Traders Espresso, 6 o'clock GMT time. For now, have a wonderful evening, everyone. Stay safe, and I'll see you later. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.